Hey, YouTube. Well, I'm here to talk about our show, Queen Sugar. All right, this thing opens up. Micah and Kiki are heading out to the prom. So the whole family together, including Nova. They've accepted Nova back into the family. They haven't showed us a lot of interaction between Vi and Nova or any of the other family members. They just show her there now. We know that her and Charlie made up and went on a retreat together. But now Nova is working with Charlie on her campaign. She's doing some investigation, right? Okay, so Kiki and Micah are going to this prom. They're heading out. Uh, I'll get back to that. Because Nova gives Charlie an info. The next thing we see is Nova gives Charlie I guess a dossier, a book about the Landry family. Something that she can use in her campaign. They don't reveal that to us right away. What's in this thing is this episode kind of climax with what was actually in this folder, but it plays a major part, right? Then we see them working together. We see Charlie practicing her speeches, or her upcoming speech at Vi's restaurant. The restaurant is empty, just those two, but Nova is critiquing her and also playing devil's advocate, testing her for this big speech she has coming up, right? While they're talking, Calvin calls, and apparently Calvin is coming to, I guess they live very close to New Orleans. Yeah, Calvin's on his way to New Orleans to celebrate Nova's birthday with her. So Charlie says you should go get ready, some perfume on, fix yourself up. She doesn't have a problem at all with Calvin. So far, all we see, because this is an interracial relationship, right? But so far, all we see, the only person we see who has a problem with Calvin is Micah, because of his experience with cops, right? Let's see, Calvin. Next scene is all the young people are together, right? It's Micah and all of his friends. I guess they were all seniors together. The only one missing is the one who had some trouble. He's out of jail now, but he doesn't want to go to the prom. Probably he's not graduating because he's been missing for the last year, right? So the rest of them are there together in this hotel room that they plan to have an after party at after the prom, right? They rented this hotel room. Then one of the kids breaks in and announces that apparently someone had rented a second room. Well, Micah has done this because him and Kiki have planned on having sex on the prom night. She's already started taking her birth control pills. They got it all planned out. But she doesn't know about the hotel room. That was supposed to be a surprise. So when they come in joking about somebody renting the second room, and they all kind of put two and two together, Kiki sits there very embarrassed. Right? Then the storm breaks out. A big storm hits St. Joe. That's how they cut from that scene. All right, in a few minutes, we're going to realize that even though he's rented this room, Kiki's saying it still doesn't feel right. So even though he's rented this room, they choose to wait. Only thing was missing there, they should have had Janet Jackson playing "Let's Wait a While Before We Do It. Let's wait a while before we go too far." Maybe they had to pay for that song, but that would have been perfect. Okay. Then we see Jacob. He comes in on Charlie while she's still at the restaurant practicing, right? He tells her she might as well sit down somewhere. The election is fixed, and her family has already informed him that he's going to win. He's already won, right? Charlie does not want to give up. This thing with Jacob, I guess Jacob still has a crush on Charlie. She seems to have some kind of power over him, not informational type thing, but he likes her a lot. And I don't know why, because she's never said a nice thing to him, seems like, since this damn thing started. But he's just, I guess that people will say, whipped as far as Charlie is concerned. As it turns out, well, I'll get to that. Okay, so they sit and they talk and they talk. And Jacob reveals that he really doesn't want to be in city council. This was his family's plan, right? And Charlie asked him to throw the race. Throw the race so she wins. He said, I can't do that. My family would kill me. I can't do that. I can't just throw the race. It can't be that obvious. So those two sit there and they come up with a plan. A plan for him to lose and her to become the new city councilman, right? Yeah. There's a scene where Vi is seducing her husband. You know, they haven't had sex in a while. She's been struggling with this Jimmy Dale thing. She's revealed what the problem was, but now she is in the mood. So we have a scene where she's seducing her husband, mood music, bath, washing his back, all this. So I guess they've solved their sexual difficulty. This next scene is kind of sad, I think. Okay, so Ralph Angel, we know he's been with this beautiful, intelligent black woman who is a district. What is she? She's a public defender or prosecutor. She's the defender. Anyway, a lawyer. And they've been taking along, having a great relationship and so forth. And we kind of thought that, well, this will elevate Ralph Angel because he needs legal help and everything else. He needs a strong woman behind him, it seems like. Right? Not somebody so needy as Darla. But they throw a monkey wrench in here, a surprise, and he informs her that he is still in love with Darla, and she insists that I respect myself too much to play second fiddle. He says you deserve better than that. And she says, I know I do. So they split up. And the reason they split up is Ralph Angel is still in love with Darla. Right? It's kind of sad. I mean, it almost brought a tear to my eye. A good man is hard to find, even if he is just a farmer. It seemed like that could have made that work. All right, Charlie, please. All right. So back to this conversation between Jacob and Charlie. Charlie he says, I know my family. Charlie said, do you? And he plays the recording of his mother's rant. Remember, Charlie had recorded it, how racist it was. Well, she played him that, and that seemed to convince him for this plan for him to throw the race, right? Darla tells Ralph. Darla and Ralph Angel are together. He's been coming there every day for a week or so, trying to be support to her as she gets over this relapse. Now, Darla says she's called her sponsor. She's working on something or other. They don't really show her involved. I would rather her just go to a program or something to make sure this relapse is over. She doesn't feel secure about it either. She's got good calls for pause there because after you relapse, it's sometimes real hard to get back into the program. I did that, and on my relapse from alcohol, I discovered crystal meth, and that was another 17 years before I made it back. And I didn't go back to that program. I just went to my Lord, and that was the end of it. But she still feels insecure. She doesn't feel stable yet. And I think, to her credit, she wants to be sure that she is sober before she comes back into her child's life. She doesn't want to expose Blue to any madness, right? So Ralph asked her, I wish you would come back as soon as possible. And she's saying, I'm not ready. Which is the responsible thing to do when you're raising children, right? He don't want her child to see her like that. All right. Calvin. Okay, now Calvin is Nova's man. He says, because they have figured out that they can hardly see each other because he lives way out in Baton Rouge somewhere, and she's there near New Orleans. And so he proposes he's moving back to New Orleans. Now, it's not clear to me. I might have missed something. Sometimes you blink, you miss something, right? Something crucial. He didn't make it clear if he's moving back to New Orleans to live with her. Are they going to live together? Or is he just moving back where he's local, where they can see each other all the time? It seems to me if they're going to be together and everybody knows they're together and he's no longer married, maybe they should just try to live together. So maybe that's what he's proposing. They make love, that's how the whole thing started, was them making love. All right, so thus far he just says he's moving back to New Orleans. No one has had a problem with him. Like I said, only Micah is really struggling, but usually Vi would have something to say, Charlie likes it, actually. So it's not as horrible as they thought it would be. And then he's not married. It's the primary thing. Next, the big closing scene is Jacob has a press conference, right? He has a press conference, and when he reveals finally what's in this book or this dossier on his family. And apparently his great-grandmother was a proud black woman. So Jacob is black, just two generations removed. I mean, you know how this laws here work. If you got any black blood, then you're black. But at least there's a tie because he's the woman, his great grandmother, had a baby with a Boudreaux, right? So actually, they're distantly related. Those two families are related. The Landrys used to own the Boudreaux, and apparently she had a baby. The woman had a baby with the woman was black, right? Yeah. So the slave owner must have had sex with the slave, which happened a lot. That's why we're not all dark-skinned people. And that was the big statement. This is part of their plan. Their plan is for him to throw the race. So they know that the hardcore racists are not going to accept that. They don't want no black blood in office, right? They will fight against it automatically. And maybe some of the black people who are going to vote for him, they might feel like he's kind of capitalized, that he has some black blood in him. So this is their plan, Charlie and Jacob's. I wish she would give Jacob some. I kind of feel sorry for him because he's doing all this. I don't know what he's getting out of it. Maybe he's trying to redeem his soul. I don't know. But, so they're going ahead with the plan. That's the end of it. All right, people. That was Queen Sugar's episode 11. And now there's 2 more episodes to go. And I will surely meet you again next week. Later.